welcome to your favorite bookish podcast, Fully Booked and Caffeinated. I'm Heather.
And I'm Kelsey.
And in honor of spooky season, even though we were just talking about how it doesn't feel very spooky because we're sweaty season, so it's like sweaty spooky season, which, bullshit.
The ghosts are sweating.
The ghosts are sweating. Today's episode, we will be covering the paranormal rom-com, The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. So, fun fact, this book was actually released on my birthday.
Really?
It was released June 28th, 2022.
Oh, 2022. Wow. Mm-hmm. I didn't know when it came out. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I was like, oh, when I
Meant
saw it, I was like, oh, hi, look at that. But anyways, what is your drink of choice for the day?
Well, right now I have a Cherry Coke Zero, but this morning Eric was coming to pick up Moo, and he texted me, he's like, do you want a coffee on my way? And I was like, abso-fucking-lutely I do. And he likes Dunkin', so he got Dunkin', which is great, because the Dunkin' by my house sucks. So I never get Dunkin' anymore. And he was passing the good Dunkin'.
Nice.
So I got, I just tell him my drink order, because, he doesn't know.
Doesn't remember.
We're only 11 years old. Anyway, point is, I got a butter pecan iced coffee, and it was perfect.
That's wonderful.
And I savored it and made it last all morning. It was wonderful.
Do you want to know what happened when I went to my Dunkin' this morning?
Uh-oh.
They were like, did you order it here? And I was like,
Did
yes.
you get wrong Dunkin'?
No, I ordered it I'd pull up my receipt, my order history, be like, here.
It must happen to them so often.
They were they looked like they were maybe a little busy, because the line was pretty wrapped around too, when I pulled in this morning, because I have to do drive-through because I have Millie in the car, so I have to do the drive-through pickup, and I was just like, yes, here, and I'm like, I'm surprised you don't just know my order by heart by now. I get the same thing every freaking morning, which is just a caramel coffee.
It's like, of course I did it here, but that probably does happen all the time, because if people put the closest one to them, there's probably 5 Dunkins at any given time.
Yeah, I have mine. It's favorited too, so that it's just. And that way, it's always just, my first choice anyways. But then I was paranoid, because I did order online at a different Dunkin' last week. So I was like, oh my god, did I hit the one in Toms River? But I was like, oh wait, no, because it also will tell me if I was too far away. It'll be like, are you sure you wanted to do this? So I knew I had it, but it sent me into, a tailspin for, a hot minute.
They were like, it's Monday, and we're gonna...
I know. So I said, I'm like, great start to the Monday morning.
Exactly. Oh gosh. All right.
And it's a full moon, just too much going on.
Too much going on. We could barely start this recording because we were both yawning so much. So,
yeah, story of our lives.
Cheers.
Cheers. So, Ashley Poston is a New York Times and USA Today bestselling author who has written a few other adult romance novels, but it looks like she kind of got started first with young adult novels. So, she has about a half a dozen out there.
Oh, really? Okay.
And one I saw was based off of Hawkeye for Marvel, so it kind of looks like maybe she did a spin-off of something.
Okay.
It was probably in connection with something else. So after graduating from the University of South Carolina with her bachelor's in English, she pursued a career in the publishing industry where she helped design and implement marketing strategies for novels. Sounds fun. But now she writes full-time in her little gray house and spoils her 3 cats. So basically, she's living my dream. Mm-hmm. And now I'm going to fight her, because I liked her, and then I read this, and I was like, now I'm just really jealous of
Except, to make you feel better, she did casually mention palmetto bugs several times in this book, so at least we don't have palmetto bugs here in New Jersey.
I don't know what that is, actually.
No, you know what they are. They're the big-ass... they're roaches of the South. They're brown, and they look like those cockroaches that are in the fucking chariots, but they can fly.
That's right. Okay, maybe I did know that. Yeah, that's a lot. I don't want those.
And they're always huge. I've never seen a small one. So.
All right. Fine. Fair. You can stay there.
Happy to help.
And then this specific book, it appears that this was her first adult romance.
Oh, really? Okay.
And so she has a couple other ones. I have the 7 Year Slip, and I've been meaning to read it because a few friends of mine, like, rave about it, and I think that's maybe, like, her best one out of the couple that she's had. She just had one just come out, like, 2 months ago.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen the 7-year slip a lot on
So I've heard, like, a lot of good things about that, so I'm going to bump that up my list now. And then this was a Good Morning America book club choice.
Okay. Interesting.
So, yeah. All right, I actually have my book. So I'm going to read the synopsis directly from the back.
Wait, did you own this one too?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I think I've had this since like 2002. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's when I first joined Bookstagram back in 22. It was still kind of up and coming. It wasn't saturated quite yet. And during that year, it was very common for other Bookstagrammers to do, like, giveaways and raffles and a lot of, or just, like, you know,
swaps and,
yeah, and just, like, random acts of kindness. Like, they would do posts like that and stuff. And so I did a lot of those. I entered them. I did them myself as well, and I got a lot of books.
Oh,
like,
nice.
So this was actually one of the ones that, like, because you just put, like, your Amazon wish list in your profile, and people, if you, like, win something, they ship it to you just directly. So a lot of the books that I got in 22 were, like, from, like, giveaways and, like, raffles and stuff like that. Yeah, so I've had this one for quite some time, and it was the perfect time to read it. But anyways, romance is dead, but this isn't what she had in mind. Florence Day is the ghostwriter for one of the most prolific romance authors in the industry, and she has a problem. After a terrible breakup, she no longer believes in love. It's as good as dead. When her new editor, a too handsome mountain of a man, won't give her an extension on her book deadline, Florence prepares to kiss her career goodbye. But then she gets a phone call she never wanted to receive, and she must return home for the first time in a decade to help her family bury her beloved father. For 10 years, she's run from the town that never understood her, and even though she misses the sounds of a warm southern night and her eccentric, loving family and their funeral parlor, she can't bring herself to stay. Her father's gone, yet everything else feels the same, and she hates it. Until she finds a ghost standing at the funeral parlor's front door, just as broad and infuriatingly handsome as ever, and he's just as confused about why he is there as she is. Romance is most certainly dead, but so is her new editor, and his unfinished business will have her second-guessing everything she's ever known about love stories.
That's a long blurb, but
it is a long blurb.
It gets you going.
So our female main character is Florence Day, which love that name, by the way. Like, I'm actually obsessed with the names in this book. She's a writer who's currently employed to ghostwrite books for the enormously successful romance author Ann Nichols. Prior to becoming a ghostwriter, Florence had published her own romance novel, Ardently Yours. I'm like, that's giving Bridgerton vibes. But it did not do well, and that kind of sent her into a tailspin regarding her career, and then she ended up picking up the job as the ghostwriter. After a rough breakup a year ago, she loses her faith in romance, and she has been unable to finish the 4th book, which is now immediately due. Like, it's due tomorrow. And
after already getting
a year.
Yeah.
She's like, it's been a year, and she just hasn't.
I've gotten several extensions already.
Yeah, because she just no longer believes in love. And she's anxious to confront the new editor with the news that she's not completed this book, and she's hopeful to get an extension. And this backfires when her new editor, the tall and handsome Benji Andor, which is another fun name, insists that Florence meets the deadline, and in that moment, Florence sees her career going up in flames. She's like, this is it. I am done. I'm going to be blacklisted. The end. Her roommate, Rose, tries to console her by taking her to an open mic at a bar. And basically this bar, it's like, what was it? I think it was like poets, or it was all based on, like, all the, it was like kind of like a speakeasy and a play on, like, old-timey authors. And I was like, I wish that was real, and if it is, I need to go, because That sounds really fun. Well, like I told you, the Edgar Allan Poe pop-up speakeasy. I really wanted to go. I wasn't going to spend $45 just to get in.
Exactly.
But that sounds really fun. And now I'm like, should we just plan, like, book pop-ups at random bars?
That would be fun.
And base them on books and, like, old-timey stuff. This plan ultimately backfires because her ex, Lee Marlowe, happens to be there. One thing about Lee is that he is a grade A douchebag.
And he's like a freaking cockroach because he's always there. He's always a palmetto bug. We can't get rid of him.
He is. He is the palmetto bug of this book. Not only did he break Florence's heart, but he also stole her stories about her family and childhood and turns them into his own highly anticipated forthcoming novel.
This pissed me the fuck off.
I know. And he like kept saying, you should publish this, or someone else is going to. Like, unbeknownst to her, it was him. Did it right under her nose. The biggest, like, asshole move you could do.
And he was such an arrogant asshole already before he did that, and he's like, oh, you're so cute with your romances, but, like, we're in different leagues, and blah, blah, blah.
Because he doesn't know that she's a ghostwriter for Ann Nichols, so, like, he doesn't know what she does, and so he thinks that, like, obviously, well, he's a man, so of course he thinks he's better than her anyways. So Florence had made the mistake of telling Lee that she can communicate with ghosts, which is a gift that she seemingly has inherited from her father. A little backstory on her and the upbringing. She's very, very close with her dad, whose name is Xavier. The names are killing it in this book. No pun intended. And her parents run a funeral home in the small town of Marymount, South Carolina, with all the palmetto bugs that I don't want to ever see. And Florence grew up with this unconventional attitude towards death. And I'm just going to pause for 1 second because I texted you today and I said there are so many Easter eggs in this book. Because Florence Day is you if you were ever written into a romance novel.
1,000%. I'm like so jealous of this girl for growing up in a funeral home.
I know.
And then I'm like, not to jump ahead, but I'm like, wow, if I ever did get married, can I get married in a funeral home? Is this a thing?
I know. I was like, just like her acceptance of death and feeling so comfortable around it, and then the dead dad. I was like, this is too much. I was like, this is a lot. She essentially became the laughingstock of the town when she helped a young ghost solve his own murder when she was just 13 years old. Which, by the way, why would people judge her for this? This is badass. But people just can't, like, they just can't get behind the concept of the supernatural.
So they're like, oh, she must have been in on it?
Yeah.
But also, how bad are these cops? Because, like, it was his dad.
I know.
They couldn't come up with that by themselves?
And so as soon as she leaves high school, she's like, peace out. To this small town and their, narrow-mindedness. So back to the Lee Marlowe in the bar. When she escapes, she goes outside only to find, you guessed it, none other than Benji Andor and his hotness. And in a reckless moment, she just kisses him. Like, out of nowhere. She's
this
just like,
is weird.
I'm stressed, kiss me. Is more or less how that went down.
I didn't see this coming.
No, me either. I was like, oh, this was kind of, but then I liked it. Like, I didn't hate it. Like, I actually feel like it was kind of like an odd placement, but as you read on in the book and you learn more about Ben and, like, who he is, I'm like, oh, this makes sense. Like, this boy has been waiting to kiss her. She gets a phone call from her mother, and unfortunately, she informs Florence that her father has died and she needs to immediately come home. So during the reading of her father's will, Xavier is a quirky man who had a series of odd requests left for his family for his funeral, specifically, like 1,000 wildflowers. Where are you going to find 1,000 wildflowers. Who knows? And also Elvis needs to be there. And they're like, the Elvis?
But the fact that no one considers an Elvis impersonator is interesting.
I know.
Like, he didn't actually think Elvis was going to be there.
No. While Florence is at the funeral parlor, there's a knock on the door, and she's met with the ghost form of Ben. And Florence discovers from Rose that Ben was hit by a car while leaving work. So now all of a sudden, her boss is here in ghost form, and she's very confused. And she also doesn't want to deal with it. She has
a lot on her plate.
She's like, I'm going to pretend that he wasn't actually here, and that was just all my imagination.
Well, and also she's been trying to ignore all the dead people who were trying to talk to her because of what happened, and it was a lot easier to ignore them in New York City.
Exactly.
Which makes sense.
As she sets out to fulfill her father's last request and struggles to write his obituary, she does eventually begin to learn more about Ben. And she learns that he lost his parents when he was young, and he was raised by his grandmother, and in a twist of fate, or like, in a twist of not usual men things, he like loves romance novels. He's like, he wanted to be the editor of the romance novels. And he's been a fan since he was young. And Florence is surprised to learn that he actually read and enjoyed her first novel. One of maybe 10 people that she thinks actually liked her novel.
And 9 of them were from her hometown.
Exactly. As they spend time together, just walking through the cemetery, the bookstore, the town square. I want to live in Marymount without the palmetto bugs, because this is just so picturesque, and again, my dream. Florence begins to think that Ben's unfinished business is the manuscript that she never finished. But to Ben, he thinks that maybe, he's there to help her restore her faith in love. So he's like, all right, well, you help me, I help you kind of scenario. And Florence, like, brushes him off at first. She's just like, no, like, it doesn't work that way. The ghosts aren't here to help me. I'm here to help you. Unfortunately, Florence becomes attracted to a ghost. And she chides herself for it multiple times. She's like, the last time I got close to a ghost was the young boy, and she discovered that he was murdered, and that was kind of a tough emotional hurdle to get over. And so she knows what happens when she tends to get close to ghosts, and she knows that this is temporary, and realistically she should not be allowing herself to feel anything remotely for Ben. But Ben begins to help her deal with her grief over her father's death, and she helps him face all of the things that he wanted to do in his life but never did due to his workaholic attitude. So when he realizes that he's dying or dead, he's like, well, I didn't do anything with my life. He's like, all I did was work. I have no family. There's all these things I wanted to accomplish, but I kept saying, like, I would get to it. So Ben is like the epitome of stop putting things off and just do them, because you could walk out of work and get hit by a car.
This was so gut-wrenching. Like, just the way they frame the passage of time and how it can just be ripped away at any time. And, like, not only did he not have anyone in his life, but he's like, oh, I had all these plans because I thought I had so much time. Yeah,
exactly. And I mean, it's so common, like, when people are taken too soon, and that always becomes, like, the commonality that people say, like, you only, you think you have so much time, but something can happen and you don't. So, like, realistically, you should live your life to the fullest, to the best of your ability. She's finally able to write her father's obituary once Ben helps Florence see that Lee wronged her, he was an asshole, and that she did nothing wrong. And she has this really special conversation with her mom, and who insists that their family story is actually a love story in itself. which is, like, beautiful and so true, because they are, like, this quirky little family. It's Florence, her 2 siblings, and her parents, and so she grows up in this funeral parlor, and when they are finished up with a funeral and it's time to clean up the parlor, her dad, like, puts on a mixtape, and it's, like, you know, Build Me Up Buttercup, and, like, all these songs, and then it's kind of like a weird transition for your brain, because now you're just kind of, like, celebrating. You know, it's like, although someone has passed, you know, it's good to still try to, like, celebrate their life and everything. And
yeah, it was like he refused to let their place be a sad place. And he's like, we still have so much love to balance out all that sadness.
Yeah. I really liked his way of thinking. I'm sad that he was killed off so early. Because I think, like, he would be such a fun character. And I was also, like, very surprised. But I guess maybe not, because it makes sense that, like, his ghost, like, never appears in the book. But, like, he didn't really have any unfinished business. Because, like, he knows that his family is he knows that his family will take care of each other when he goes, which they do.
Yeah, I thought he would at least make a little appearance.
But no, he doesn't. And Florence had believed this about her family, you know, when she was younger, and in general, but everything was tainted by Lee, and the ghost murder when she was younger as well, because then it kind of, you know, being, like, made fun of or ridiculed for something, especially at, like, that young age of, like, adolescence. Like, of course it's gonna, like, reframe how you see things. So it was unfortunate that she had these 2 realistically tragic events that really changed everything for her.
Yeah, and I think that that's why she's so frustrated, because she doesn't understand why she's still sad or why she's still heartbroken, because Lee was a literal piece of shit. He was a gaslighter and a swindler and a fucking liar. But I think at one point she does realize it's because she feels stupid. Like, she feels stupid for trusting him and opening up to him, and finally, even though she didn't tell him the truth about the ghosts because she knew that he wouldn't believe her, it was still, she trusted him enough to share these childhood memories, even under the guise of it being fake, and then she just felt stupid that she was taken advantage of.
Yeah, 100%. Florence begins to reconnect with her past self, which I loved, and she faces some demons from her past. Like, for one, she confronts the woman, who unfortunately was named Heather. I was not very pleased with this, who was the one that spread rumors about her in school. And she also visits the Ridge, which is the place where she found the body of the young classmate that was murdered. So there's this beautiful place in town that was also tainted for her because of the situation. And, you know, being in town and connecting with Ben is giving her these opportunities to really reflect and face the things that have been affecting her for so long. So there's a lot of growth in Florence throughout this book. And her father's wake gives Florence the chance to resolve the distance between her and her sister Alice, who was hurt when Florence left. Alice is the younger sister who apparently just, like, beat people up. I love that.
Yeah, she's very violent.
And also queer. A lot of her and her brother, Carter? No.
Yeah.
Was it Carter?
Yes. 99% sure.
Let me see, hold on. Just to make sure. Carver.
Oh.
Carver.
I like Carver.
Not
better.
Carter. Okay. Carver.
Alright, we'll allow it. Yeah, they were both gay.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's fun.
Wow, they're both gay and she loves a ghost. What a family.
I know, like, it's great. This is the quirkiest, queerest family, and it's amazing, realistically. So yeah, Alice was very hurt when Florence left, and then she even says to Florence in one of the many scenes that made me, like, cry my eyes out as I'm laying in bed last night, 2 nights ago, finishing this book. I'm, like, just drenched in tears. She's like, I don't blame you for leaving. Like, I wouldn't expect anything less but it's like, you just kind of like forgot about us. And because like Florence did, essentially, she left town and just would never come back. They had to come to her for the holidays, which in return, especially Alice, resented that. But she understands why, because their dad wasn't going to force Florence to come back to Maremont if she wasn't ready. And I wouldn't say that the dad had like a favorite child, but you could tell that he was just really connected with Florence, probably because like they shared that like gift of seeing ghosts.
That really like resonated with me when Alice was, because she was jealous of the relationship that Florence had with their dad, and she says like, you only got to see the best parts of Dad, because when he called you, he, you know, wanted to talk to you, he was so excited to see you, you saw him for the holidays. I'm the one who had to be around for the good times and the bad times, so why wouldn't I feel like he liked you more? Because he was always the best dad to you. And because they shared that gift that no one else in the family did, but Alice shared with him the passion for the funeral home and for, you know, keeping it running, and I think she didn't feel, her dad didn't tell her that enough, like how much she appreciated what she was doing to help the family business.
Yeah, exactly. And in the end, you know, in the will, because his dad knew, like, he left the funeral home to Alice. Well, once their mother passed, but she was like, no, I'm going to give it to you now, obviously. She's like, you're doing great. You're doing a great job, sweetie. Keep it up. Florence realizes that she has become deeply attached to Ben, and after he spends the night with her at the B&B she's staying at, she plays around with this idea of loving Ben even as a ghost. So there's this small point in time in the novel where Florence really considers, like, well, what if he just doesn't leave? Like, what if he just stays and I can still, you know, love him and have him in my life, even, like, in this ghost form? And you could tell, like, Ben is like, but that's, like, not enough. Like, you deserve more. And it's kind of, like, an interesting concept that that's something that she would be willing to do. Like, can you imagine just, you know, being in love or having something that's not really physically there? Because, like, every time that Ben would try to touch her, like, it would just, she could feel the cold and, you know, him trying, and, you know, you could see the frustration in him of, like, not being able to, like, actually touch her. But, like, obviously there's so much to a relationship. And
yeah, and it's interesting how she rationalizes that to be like, okay, we couldn't have that sexual part, well, can't they? But we could still have, you know, we could still sit on a porch and watch people pass us by and have walks through the graveyard, when in reality she can't, because already she has this reputation when people see her talking to herself and don't understand who she's talking to, and she's not secretive about it. She's really bad at this, which I guess...
No, I know, because at one point
it would be
her
hard,
family's like, we know you're talking to somebody, like, who is it? And then she's like, oh, okay. Like, she, like, finally tells her family, like, who Ben is and everything, and her family's, like, also, like, again, very, like, on board with it. They're like, okay. Like, you have a ghost friend, great, we don't care, you know?
Yeah, because you can tell that they are also jealous of this gift because of the possibility that her dad could come visit.
Yeah.
But then when they realize that he didn't, and instead it's just some random, her boyfriend ghost, they're like, oh, okay, no problem.
I know.
Invite him to the table.
I know, Alice just keeps saying, your boyfriend ghost, and she's like, it's not my boyfriend. So at her father's funeral, which, by the way, the best part of this entire funeral was the balloons, where it's like, happy death day, and it's a death. I was like,
banners,
amazing.
Balloons.
Amazing.
And party hats. And yes.
Which, I personally love this idea, because, you know, I truly believe that funerals should be a celebration of life. And yes, while they are very obviously sad and depressing, you know, there's so much more to it than that. And so this...
Yeah, I hate somberness, and even when people do like celebrations of life, they're still somber and sad. And it's like, I've been to a few like Jewish funerals, and the whole thing is the circle of life, and that's what they talk about so much. And like everything that's served is a circle, everything is discussed is all about a circle, but they don't really focus on that circle part. You know what I mean? Like, okay, we're in this part of the circle. We can't even think about all the things we should be happy about, or, you know what I mean? Like, the memories are never framed in a happy way.
No, they're not. And you're always so quick to dwell on what they are going to miss out on and everything. When instead, like, you really should reflect more on, like, the happy memories and, you know, rejoice in the times that you had with that person. So,
and that's why so many people do say this, like, when I pass, I don't want everyone to be sad. I want there to be a celebration, but death is not for the person who died, and grieving is not for the person who died, and that's why I think it's so complicated.
I agree. But I loved this.
Oh, agreed. I wanted to be at this party.
I know, right? So, unfortunately, not only does Florence have to say goodbye to her father, but Ben tells her that it's time for him to leave. So, throughout the novel, Ben has been kind of, like, randomly, like, disappearing, and he's like, I hear things. He's like, I don't know what it is. And, like, Florence doesn't know either, because obviously she's never been a ghost. She doesn't really know what the other side looks like. So she just thinks that he keeps getting pulled, and it seems that, like, he's going for good. But before he goes, this man just, like, admits his love for her, more or less. He's like, I've been attracted to you since the day of the party where, like, she first met Lee. So it's like he clocked her in that library as well, but he was, like, too shy. Like, he sounds like the perfect, you know, male lead, honestly. He seems like he's super, super fucking hot and, like, super sexual, but, like, so nerdy and shy and, like, doesn't know what to do with himself, and that's, like, my favorite kind of person.
I completely agree, but imagine you left, I mean, never me, because I am the same way, but imagine you left your dirty socks out and you're living with this man. He would not be happy.
No, he wouldn't. So, like, he admits that he saw her at the party, and at that time, he was seeing his now ex-fiance, and he was like, I'm a monogamous man. He's like, so even though, like, Laura and I weren't serious, I would have felt guilty for, like, talking to you. But ultimately, he regrets not approaching her. And here's, like, the biggest plot twist of the book, one of many. He admits that Ann Nichols is his fucking grandma. I did not see that coming.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming either, because he keeps calling her Annie. You don't call your grandmother by her first name.
I know. But then also, Ann Nichols is fucking dead.
Yeah, that...
She's been dead, like, 5.5 years, and Florence never knew. She was never told that, like, Anne had died, and she's, like, confused, because she was like, well, Anne came to me and, like, asked me to ghostwrite, you know, for her. And Ben's like, yeah, about that. She couldn't have, because she was dead. So now Florence realized that she was approached by Anne's ghost. So now
which I liked.
I loved this. And it's like, how insane is it that she's approached by a ghost who wants her to ghostwrite her novels? Like, there's just so much, like, infinity going on throughout this that amazing. Legitimately, just amazing. And he admits that during the time of his grandmother's death, it was actually her novel that, like, brought some light in for him with all, like, the grief. And so he goes, but plot twist number 2, Ben is not dead. And this was my thought throughout the novel. I kind of had an inkling, and then it, like, hits me that, because then, like, she's like, wait, Rose never actually said the words, like, he's dead. She just said he got hit by a car, his ghost is here, so obviously the first conclusion that Florence is going to jump to is that my bro died. But but he was just in a coma.
The whole time, I knew this was going to happen, but I'm waiting for someone to tell her that he woke up. I'm waiting. And then we get to the end, and I'm like, is it not going to happen?
I know. I was so, like, perplexed about that, too. And it makes sense, because obviously this is, like, where he's going. Because, like, he's, you know, what he hears is the people in the hospital and everything. And even, like, the people at the hospital were like, I don't know why this dude is having such a hard time.
He has, like, a scratch on his face.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know why.
Once she thinks about it, there were so many other clues. Like, he was changing, like he was getting facial hair, he was looking scruffier, and like ghosts aren't supposed to change.
Exactly.
And he was in pain, and the ghosts aren't supposed to be in pain either. So there were little things, but she had never spent long enough with the ghost, so she was like, oh, I guess this happens every time.
And also she has this like growing attraction to him and feeling like all these emotions for him as well, so she's not going to think that he's actually still like alive, like there's a chance that he's still alive. But so while he's in this coma, his spirit comes to Florence, and, like, it creates the beginning of their love story, which, like, in hindsight, I am obsessed with, because Florence's whole thing is ghosts, and even though he's, like, been attracted to her for so long, I love that this is actually the moment, like, where they start their relationship. Because it's just so on the nose.
Yeah. And such a time when they both needed it and wouldn't have gotten it otherwise.
No. So Florence flies back to New York City to see him, and she runs into Lee at the hospital and punches him in the nose, rightfully so.
She should have done it sooner.
Yeah. Oh, and then she briefly sees Ann Nichols' ghost in the elevator. And she was like, oh my, this fucking made me tear up too. Because she's like, where are you going? She's like, top floor. And she's like, yeah, I think it's about time I go. And I was like, fucking A.
Also, the fact that was Anne's unfinished business to find someone for her grandson to love, because she stuck around for a long time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I feel like her spirit stuck around because she wanted to see Ben, I think, find like a happy ending.
Yeah, I think.
Because I think she knew that he was like a workaholic, and you know that he wasn't really living.
Parents.
Exactly. There was somebody. So like when she's just like, I'm ready to, I think it's time to go. I was like, stop. I like literally bawled my eyes out. The complete end of this book. Florence sees Ben's ex-fiancé in the room, and so she worries that maybe this isn't her love story after all, and she doesn't know if he actually remembers the time he spent with her when he was in his ghost form. Like, there's no guarantee. Again, this has never happened, so she doesn't know if he actually remembers everything. And then all of a sudden, like, 6 months go by, and I was like, did not expect that time jump through me. I was like, oh, okay.
How did she survive not knowing?
I don't know. So it's 6 months.
And how did she never run into him or in passing?
Well, I guess,
or he had like barely any injuries.
I know. I don't know. He was recovering. He had a long recovery, I guess.
I mean, I'd milk it too if I was him.
I know. And she finally finishes the manuscript because, she believes in love again. And when she turns it in, she requests a meeting with Ben as kind of like a Hail Mary to see if he recalls the time that they spent together. And, of course, he does, because it wouldn't be a love story if he didn't. So Ben realizes that he actually was not dreaming in the coma, because he also didn't know if it was real.
Which is kind of crazy, though, because even if he didn't think it was real, why wouldn't he try and reach out to her?
I know.
And just be like, hey, there must be a reason I was dreaming about this girl, and I liked her for 2 years.
Well, I was going to say, I think that that's a reflection of why he didn't, because, like, you have to think back to how he was when he first saw her, and, like, he wouldn't take the shot.
Yeah.
So I think that that's just his MO. Like, he won't take the shot.
Yeah, and he does internalize a lot. Like,
yeah.
The whole thing with him and his ex-fiancé was fucking heartbreaking and horrible.
I know. Where he's like, it's okay that she cheated on me. And I'm just like, what do you mean it's okay?
He's like,
that
it's
you cheated
actually
on?
my fault. And I was like...
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's such like a sad boy. You know, and he's like so in tune with his emotions to the point that it's a detriment, apparently. You know. So they kiss, and then Florence brings him back to Marymount to celebrate her brother's wedding, as you said, in the funeral parlor. Which, like, so now, like, there's also this beautiful moment at the end of the book where they get to utilize the parlor as a real celebration. And it's so, it's like, the place is, like, completely transformed into, like, this beautiful moment in time. And my favorite part, actually, of the book was they discover that Ben can now see the ghosts. Because he was one for a moment in time. And so, like, now this is something else that they get to share together in their own, like, happily ever after. And it just comes full circle for Florence because she's been so, you know, oh god, I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but this has been something for her that she's been scared to admit to other people, and she doesn't want to share it with other people because they don't believe in it. You know, it's kind of, I think, something that maybe hypothetically holds her back in relationships and everything. And so now she gets to experience it with the love of her life. And now it's a really, truly is like a beautiful thing.
And I think it was hard too because her dad celebrated his gift and he was so happy to have it. And so, like, the way he framed it was like, it's our responsibility to help these people and we should be happy to help them, these ghosts and whatever. And because of that awful experience as a child, she didn't have that same view on it. And it's like, not only does she get to share it with Ben, but it's how she met and fell in love with Ben.
I know. So, like, it was just, all in all, probably one of the most beautiful, like, love stories I've read in a long time. Because there were so many intricacies. There we go. That you don't normally get in, like, I think most romances. Like, not to this extent. Like, this was, like, insane. So good. Loved it.
Yeah, I also liked that so much of it was exploring other relationships. It wasn't just about their relationship with each other. And for obvious reasons, it was not spice heavy.
No. Like, it was very, and so she kind of, it's almost like the closed door romance with her. Like, yeah, it gets like a little spicy, but very, very minuscule. And like when they do eventually like have sex, like it's very modest. You know, it's not like too in depth.
And I think, like you said before, this is very much a 2-part love story. Like her thing with Ben is not the main love story of this book. You know that it's going on the whole time in the background, but it is so much about her family and her grief and her dealing with all of these demons that she has and all of this past trauma, and Ben just happens to be the person who helps her. Yeah.
So, I love when I get to the end of the book and there's like a blurb from the author. Like a full-blown, I mean, it's very long, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I do just want to read a little bit of it. Did you read this in the back of the book? It's so good. So she says,
I always read them now, because you always pointed out
they're
to me,
so
I always
good.
read them.
They're so good. She says, I see dead people. Kidding. I really don't. And if I did, I would probably 1, talk to my therapist, 2, schedule an exorcism. Joking aside, I do kind of see dead people. We all do. We see them in family photos when we remember the way your grandma used to talk to her flowers, and the way your granddad happily sat in his favorite rocking chair on the porch, watching lightning arc across summer storms, and the way your aunt used to have a laugh so infectious she would light up a whole room. We read about them all the time. English class is full of dead people. Jane Austen, dead. Shakespeare, doth be dead and buried. Charles Dickens, A Tale of Two Deads. We listen to them on the radio, we watch them in films, without really thinking that they, caught the midnight train already. But honestly, death scares me. That's the crux of it. Death itself, in all its ferocious unknown, scares the living crap out of me. And I was like, bruh. Number one. Again. I'm so sorry. But, like, it's so, like, beautiful to think of it, like I said, in that way, that I never, until I read this paragraph, did I ever think that, oh, we do see dead people. Mm-hmm. You know? Mm-hmm. And it's just, like...
And even in the book, when the dad is talking about, oh, you want to hear the dead people? Listen to the wind. Watch the storms. This is, this is the dead shaking our bones. It's like, all you have to do is look for it, and it's
exactly there. Mm-hmm. I know. And then just like when she says, it's so small, but when she says, like, honestly, death scares me, that's the crux of it. And it hits, like, so, like, close to home for me because, and I've talked about this multiple times, the idea of death now means something different to me in my current time of like, especially of, like, being a mom. And, it's crazy when you allow your mind to, like, go down that road of, like, well, what would happen? Or, like, you just immediately, in kind of the opposite of what we talked about, I myself begin to spiral and think about all the things I'm going to, like, miss out on when I eventually, die. And because I don't know when it will happen, and I don't know what I'll miss out on in, like, Millie's life. And so you just kind of, it completely, like, flips a switch and just makes you, like, see death in, like, a whole new light. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, like, it does. Like, it's kind of an interesting way to twist it in your brain to, like, think of it as, well, we do see, like, dead people every day. Yeah. And in these small ways. So.
Yeah, and showing you that it has to get better for that reason, because it's always going to exist and you don't have a choice but for it to get better. I think... Actually, while I was reading this, I was going to text you that we're fucking fighting because I can't believe you picked this book. I cried for at least half of this book.
I didn't know.
I was like, oh, a dead dad again. Good job, Heather. And then I was like, oh no, the dad is dead the entire book. We're talking about it on every fucking page. Mm-hmm. And especially the whole, like, I personally have that same fear of, like, not living my life to the fullest because there's not enough time. And also, like, specifically with my dad, one of the last things he said to me was that, like, we didn't have enough time together. Ooh. Sorry. So that, like, really, really hit hard because this is another dad who she lost so soon. And there was so many things that she wished she had said to him, and then she thinks, oh wait, maybe I can say those things to him. Maybe he will come back as a ghost and I can talk to him. And she can't. And then, she kind of realizes that this is the way things are. I can't go back and change it. I can't get more time. I can't say the things I never said. But now I have to make sure to do that with the other people around me. I need to make sure that these relationships with my siblings are not strained or fraught, and I need to make sure that I'm checking in on my mom and making sure that she's okay and taking a chance, which, like, why did you wait 6 months? You should have taken that chance the day after and went to see Ben, because time goes by so quickly. But,
I know.
Obviously she needed to write her book and all this stuff, but, like, it hits so much closer to home than I was expecting it to. And yeah,
which obviously,
maybe I just need to stop going to therapy and just read more of these books.
Which, like, obviously, like, I do, like, apologize because I never want to trigger someone. But in a sense, like, now, like, hearing you say this, I'm almost, like, happy we read it because I feel like, in a way, the way that this book is portrayed, and because it, like, is so similar to you and, like, resonates with you, I feel like this book has the power to, like, heal you a little bit because it gives you new ways to look at it that you would have never thought to. And then I think even though this is a fictitious novel, it's relatable.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think we have read recently other books where there is a dead dad, and it does not, it didn't affect me at all. It was just because I saw so many similarities.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
In this book, it was like, oh, that's why it's hitting so hard. And also the whole idea of Florence and having her different view of death and being able to talk about it and joke about it and learning about it so young. I always feel that my view of death is different and weird. And so that was another thing that I was able to definitely, like, relate to. And all of that was just, like, layers on layers. And also, like, do I believe in love? Who knows? That's a question for another day. But, like,
romance is romance dead? Could be.
And then they were going to the Waffle House. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I love the Waffle House.
I know.
I want a waffle so bad.
I know. But then it's, like, funny, because then it's kind of like, I like this, we're very much into, like, the witchy woo-woo stuff. And so I love that, like, sometimes we choose these books unintentionally, and then they end up being so fucking poignant in our current time. And I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, I chose this book because it's spooky season and it looks like a spooky romance, not knowing that it was going to have this kind of impact on either of us. And it's just crazy. Like, and that is why books are literally the most amazing thing in the universe.
100%. Because even though we are obviously best friends, we are such different people, even in our lives. Like, you're talking about motherhood and I'm going through the grief. Like, we're still able to resonate so much with this and still able to connect, even though we're connecting on different levels.
I know. Which, like, I personally love, too, because I like that... That's what makes doing this, like, so much fun, too, because we both see books in different ways, and then we get to, like, communicate how we saw something, and there's been so many times when you're like, oh, I never saw it in that way, because, because you're not a mom. And it's like, oh, I didn't see it that way, that you see it because I'm not queer. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so many, so, like, we're like intertwining ourselves to the point where we're like the substance, I guess. You know what I mean?
No, because the other day you did say you're my emotional support best friend, so this is not good for us.
No.
No, but it's so true that, like, this is why we love book club. I know that we get distracted and we talk about all these other things, but being able to see things from a different point of view and from someone that you respect and you value their opinions is such a big deal. And that's why, for one of the many reasons that I'm so happy that not only did we get our love of reading back, but so many people got their love of reading back, because we would be missing out on so much. And especially with how fucked up the world is, what if we couldn't escape into... And even though sometimes we're reading about things that are going on in the world, being able to activate our minds in that way instead of just doom scrolling, which I still do, but you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, I still make time for that in my regularly programmed schedule.
Anyways, so I'm done crying on the podcast. What else you got for us?
I mean, there were, like, also discussion questions in the back of the book. So, I mean, I went on a tangent that I wasn't expecting to, so it went a little farther. But I do like, and I actually didn't even, like, fully read them, but I liked this one. Usually keeping secrets can shake a person's trust in someone else, but Florence's dad... Oh, wait, I totally skipped that. So, the dad knew that she was ghostwriting for Anne.
I knew this. Well,
and
I didn't know that he knew who it was.
I know, and this was her biggest, like, I don't want to call it a regret.
Insecurity, I feel like.
I mean, like, she keeps saying, I wish my dad knew that I was doing what I love, because she wrote the book, her first novel, and it wasn't successful. and so she immediately thinks she's not good enough, and so she kind of plays it off like she's no longer writing, but she is, and these books, even though they're penned under another name, are highly successful. And so the fact that, like, her dad knew, and, like, you know, oh my god, that made me so fucking emotional.
I loved it so much because the whole time she's feeling like, I ran away and I went to New York so that I could be successful, and I have nothing to show for it, and everyone probably thinks that I'm not successful. They don't know what the hell I'm doing out there. And not only did her dad know, but he told the entire town.
I know. And, like, they all, like, had to keep it a secret that, like, they didn't know. And it's just, like, it's one of those moments in time in the book where it just shows you that no matter how down you feel about yourself and what you're doing, there's someone out there that's proud of you. Like, they might not vocalize it enough, or you might not share your insecurities in order to get not necessarily rewarded, but, you know, be told that, you know, you are like doing, you know, you're doing a great job. And so it's like, that just, like, really got me. Because I feel like that's something that I personally live with, is the feeling of not feeling I'm doing enough, or, you know, there's things that maybe I haven't revealed to someone that I wish that I want to, or whatever. And so there's just this thing where they know, like, the people in your life that really are, like, mean a lot to you, like, and I think that's why it's such, like, a thing with people who unfortunately, you know, like, commit suicide, because they just think that, like, no one cares. And it's like, just, you need to know that there's someone out there, even if it's, like, one person, there's still someone out there that's proud of you and, like, sees what you're doing and is silently cheering you on. And I just love that. I really love that.
So is the universe.
Yes.
Like, everything is meant to be the way it's meant to be. I will say Florence is a better person than me, because you cannot tell me that Lee was standing in front of you and saying that you're not successful and you're not a good writer, that I wouldn't be like, do you know why I fucking ghostwrite for you, bitch?
I know.
You're telling me that the bully Heather is having her little book club and she's not running in there and saying, I wrote that book that you're talking about? Oh no. I'd be like, NDA my ass.
I know.
I could never do it.
I know. So that was, like, another one of my favorite moments. It's just a beautiful book.
There was a lot, and I didn't, like, it was a very quick read, so I kind of, like, raced through it, also because I started it yesterday. But when I go back and look, like, there's so many different aspects. And so many different, I wouldn't call them, like, twists or reveals, because a lot of them were predictable. Yeah. But they all worked and were necessary.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it was really, like, a flawless rendition. Like, I personally don't feel like there was any stone unturned. Like, there was no loose ends. Like, it really just, it went together so well. And even though, listen, but you weren't gonna, I did not see the fucking grandma, him being the grandson of that being the grandma that, like, adopted him and, like, took him in. Yeah, there was definitely,
like, had to have some relationship, because he kept referring to her as Annie, but I thought it was just like he knew her from childhood, his next door neighbor.
Exactly. Like, it wasn't to that extent. And even like the moment of him admitting that he has admired Florence from afar for so long, you're like, wow, like, you know, it's just the true epitome of slow burn is this novel. This is a slow burn romance. But, like, there's no unintentional slow burn. Like, my dude could have tried to make a move.
He was literally dead. But it's funny because it's not creepy that he's like, I've been admiring you from afar.
No,
because
it's not.
He's literally a ghost that she's fantasizing about. So it's like, there's no creepiness is off the table. You know what I mean?
I know, and just the way that he's just waxing poetic, and I'm like, I would also be in love with the ghost if they were saying this shit to me. So I get it, and it's very rare for a man to be so in tune with their romantic side and be so into romance. You know?
Yeah, but I liked that he still had those flaws that were very apparent, like blaming himself for his failed relationship, like being aware that he was working too much and he did focus too much on work and blah blah. Like he still very much had those flaws, so it wasn't like some idyllic, because that's what I don't like about romance sometimes. It's that it's too perfect and too mushy and too, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's got to be a little realistic for me.
No, and I would say that people that like, for all like the people who loved Casper as a child, you need to read this book as an adult.
It's so true. That's so true.
It is. It's the adult version of Casper, and I loved Casper. When he says, "Can I keep you?" I died. So, yeah. I would actually love for this to be a movie.
Yeah.
I think that this would be realistically a very, very, very good movie. Anyways, I could keep going, but I'm going to stop because, life. Was there anything else that we wanted to touch on? Didn't even do the discussion questions because...
Listen, we had our own discussion.
We did, which is even better.
No, I'm let's rate this bitch. I'm ready.
All right. Well, you're never gonna guess what my rating is. I mean, this is definitely a 1 star, but this is out of Waffle Houses.
Oh, so many Waffle Houses. I love the Waffle House.
This is 5 times infinity Waffle Houses. This is one of my favorite reads of the year so far.
I love that. I gave it 4.5 Waffle Houses. I loved this book so much. I basically cried the whole time. I hated you passionately.
Apologies.
I'm only giving a 0.5 star off for the imagining sex scenes with a ghost. Yeah. I know it was a short scene and it was only a few pages, but I was like, Kelsey, I can't do this.
I know.
But I definitely thought a lot of it was predictable, but I didn't mind that. I liked that it wasn't too mushy, and I already said this, but I can't say enough. This was a romance made for the Kelseys of the world. I related to this so much, and I don't even know if I would want to read another book by her. I think it's like, I mean, I would, but I'm saying it's specifically this that hit me so hard. So yeah, I'm really happy that you picked this one. Happy, angry. You
know what? I'm just happy that the few romances that I've chosen for us to cover, you've liked.
Seriously, some of them I liked more than you did.
And I'm just like, that's crazy to me, but it means I'm doing something right, I guess.
Well, that's part of what we said, being able to see each other's point of view, because I would never even pick up most of these books. And then I do, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this. And when she was like, when they were doing like, what is it called? It's not like phone sex. It's not pod sex like on Love is Blind. It's like, it was a weird sexual encounter.
What is it? Wait, oh my god. Sexual encounter of the ghost kind.
Exactly. And then I'm like, wow, people read entire super spicy books about fucking ghosts. I don't think I could do that. I think because this book was so realistic in so many ways, that's where I was like,
I get it.
I would have climbed this guy like a tree, though, for the record.
Oh, no. I mean, and she says that multiple times. She's like, Florence, stop thinking about climbing him like a tree.
Like, sometimes you just want to climb him like a tree.
I know. Heard that. Anyways, well, I believe that's all we have for you today. If you like what you heard, please make sure to follow, subscribe, and rate and review the podcast on whatever platform you listen to us on. If you have any book recommendations or questions for us, you can email us at fullybookedcastpod@gmail.com. Also, be sure to follow us on TikTok and Instagram at fullybookedcastpod to see our upcoming reads. Thanks for checking us out, and remember,
if you need us, we're fully booked. Bye.
Bye.